What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Winter Disc Golfer here. Today we have an interesting video. So these are all the discs that I currently own, ranging from putters, mids, fairways, and drivers. I got a little bit of everything. So I thought that it would be fun to come out to the field here and give them all a toss and show you how they fly. So first throw of the day. My plan is to start slow, work my way up to the drivers. So if you're a fan of the channel, you know that I love the Berg. I've been throwing it for a while. I got away from it a little bit last year, but I'm back to throwing them this year. I love them. Most people know what they do, so if you don't, you're in for a treat. All right. So that's the K1 Soft. Holds perfectly straight for its full flight, just falls out of the sky. This is the K1 plastic that's a little bit transparent. You can kind of see through it. So that one's got a little bit of fade at the end. Not really like it hooks up or anything, but it just gradually drifts to the left. Here's a K1 that is not see-through. I can't think of the word right now. That one holds just a touch straighter than the transparent one, but I've also had that one a little bit longer. So last but not least, we've got the K3 Berg. This one's a pretty firm plastic, and it's like 20 degrees this morning, so we'll see how this one flies. I don't throw this one. I don't putt with it. I just have it because I won it in a tournament. Gave that one a little bit more height than the others, and that actually had some fade to it. The other ones held straight and maybe drifted a little bit to the left, but that one actually got out, and at the very end of its flight, it actually tailed off to the left. So that's kind of interesting. All right, keep it in the theme of the Berg. This is a Berg X, so this should be a little bit more stable. It's just a touch shallower than the normal Berg, but it's got that same top profile, which I find really comfortable. Yep, that one's got a decent amount of fade to it. As soon as I let go, it held straight for a couple seconds, and then right away it started fading left. So if you like the Berg and you need a little bit of stability, go for the Berg X. All right, next up we're into the 2-speeds. So I tried out the range last year, and I thought that it was going to kick out the Berg from my bag. I typically bag a Toro and then either a Berg or some kind of neutral to understable putter. And when the range came out, I was really excited. I thought that with it being a little bit more understable, that I would like this. But lately, I haven't been getting a good release on it, so I took it out of the bag. That's why the Berg is back in there. But this is a great disc. I love it. As long as I can get a clean release. Seeing right there, there's a little bit of drift to the right. Got another range, same thing, Neutron plastic. Yep. And I pulled. All right. Next up is the Judge. I putted with this for years, so I'm pretty comfortable with these. I never threw these, but they were my putting putters for a while, and I really liked them. 2401, so they should be kind of stable. I've got a Supreme, and the other one is a Prime. We'll see how these fly. So this should show you that I'm not a big putter thrower. Here's the Prime Judge. I'll back off the power a bit. Yeah, I feel like I threw that pretty smooth, and it still drifted to the right. Next up, we've got the Innova Aviar Classic. One that just about everybody knows, but I don't see many people throwing this, so just like the Judge, for me, it flips like that. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but that is a putter that is not for me. All right, next up, we've got the Nomad. I used to bag one for a little while. This is an Electron firm plastic. A little bit of drift to the right. All right, here's my baby, the DX Innova Aero. This was the first disc that I ever got. I've had this since I was like 10. It's funny, when I went to the pro shop the other day, I picked up an Aero, and I was so surprised at how deep it felt, because this one is worn basically in half. There's not much room left to it, but this was my putting putter for like 10 years. This thing is super flippy. I'll basically just give it a toss. Almost no power at all, and it just drifts to the right. So the Latitude Peak. This is a new one. Very popular. I've seen a lot of people throwing these. I love it. This is in Royal Plastic. This is my current putting putter, and yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. I don't throw this, but I've got a stack of them at home, and I love putting with them. It's nice and shallow, point and shoot, just perfectly straight. I love this thing. And again, that's why I don't throw putters very often. Moving up in speed now. We're into the 4-speed, so I've got the Paige Pierce Z Soul. This is in the bag currently. It's super flippy, get out of jail free hyzer flip machine. Or if I'm in the woods and I want to throw something soft and controlled but need it to go straight, money. So we'll give this a little bit of height and watch it cruise to the right. Very low power, probably 30%. That had enough height where it fought out at the very end. Next, we've got a ESP Zone. Sick die. I can't remember who dyed this, but this thing is supposed to be nice and stable. If you've played disc golf for more than a day or two, I'm sure you've heard of the zone. Everybody's got one except me. I didn't have a zone for years, and I don't bag this. I don't throw this. I never threw this. So this will actually be my first throw with it. So we'll see. Flies pretty nice. Nice and straight. Doesn't have a dumping finish to it, but it's a nice, steady and consistent fade to the left. So that flew pretty nice. I just the next one here is the Star Toro from Innova. This is in the bag. This is my go-to approach disc. I love this thing. I can throw this all over the course. I'm learning to throw it forehand, so having this consistent, reliable forehand and backhand machine, this does work on the course for me. I can trust it out hard to the right, to the left. I feel like the Toro is definitely a step up in stability from the zone, because it pushes out kind of straight, but almost immediately it's starting to hook up to the left, and then as soon as it loses enough speed, it fades off to the left. Very predictable in the wind, very consistent. That second one there is another Toro. I've had that one in the bag a little bit longer, and as you can see, it still holds up against the wind. It's maybe just a touch straighter, but still a little bit more overstable than a zone. All right, so now we are into the mids. This is one area where I feel like I don't throw very many. I want to, but I feel like with how far the Toro goes, and when I'm throwing the Berg well, I can get it out to like 250 to 300 maybe. So I don't feel like I really need mids very often, but there's definitely a time and a place for them. So we'll start with the Paradox. Super flippy Axiom 5-speed. This thing is almost a meme disc with how understable it is. So I'll give it some height, a little bit less power. Yeah. Basically, turned into a roller. And with almost no speed on the roll, it actually stood up and curled. That's how understable the Paradox is. That thing is super flippy, almost unusable. Next up, we've got the Neutron Uplink. This is, again, fairly understable, but this is probably, I bagged an Uplink for a while, and it was my like Sky Anheuser get right on a dogleg kind of disc. I love this thing. So a high panning shot is exactly what I'd use this for. Get it up high, and you can get that thing around a corner in a hurry. Again, we've got just a little bit of a headwind, so when it got to the ground, it got on angle. This next one, MVP Detour. I love this thing. This is a workhorse for me when I need to hit a tight line in the woods, have something stand up and drift just a little bit, but not turn over like those first two did. This is my go-to. Absolutely love it. See, it stands up and it drifts to the right, and at the very end, just barely starts to fade out. So it holds a fairly tight line right to left, and I absolutely love that disc. That one is staying in the bag for sure. Next up, I've got a Discraft First Run Meteor ESP plastic. This thing is from 2008. So if you're a collector and you're looking for a Meteor, hit me up. I have had this since 2008. This was in the bag for several years. And I eventually retired it. So this one doesn't get much attention, but it's at home in the collection. It's a little bit flippy now. About the same stability as the Uplink. Next up, we've got the Dynamic Discs EMAC Truth. This is the original, like, pre-tooled version of it. So I think they just came out with a retooled die for the EMAC Truth because they'd been getting a little bit too flippy, which this one is. So it's not that 5502 that the numbers say it is. It flies more like a 55-11. I used to bag this for a while, but I felt like there was too much overlap with the Detour, so this one doesn't make the bag, but I had it in the bag for a while, and I love it. It's got a great hand feel for me, little bit of a bead on the bottom, and it goes. Really nice push and glide. Still enough of a fade at the end. Pretty much perfectly balanced between like a -1 and 1. Another one in the Trilogy lineup is the Truth. So this is just a plain Truth, not EMAC. Oh! That was my first throw with that disc, and it is flippy. I don't know if I got a little bit of a headwind right there or what, but next up, we'll go with the Buzz. So this is one that I won back in 2006. It's an Elite Z Buzz from the Baraboo Open back in the day. OG. If you're interested in this guy, let me know. I'd be willing to part ways with it for the right price. Not the best release, but if I can get a good one, that thing goes for forever. All right, another new one on the market, the Buzzsaw. This thing looks absolutely sick. When it's flying, you can't really see the saw teeth in action, but up close and personal, this thing is absolute money. I love the way this thing looks. I just can't get over the hand feel. I'm not a Buzz guy, but this thing flies great. There's a reason all the Discraft pros throw a Buzz. It's a little bit on the flippy side, but it definitely still has enough stability to go for days. All right, next up we have a Star Rock. So I'm not a rock guy, but this is definitely one that a lot of people know and love. Just a perfect little stand up, drifts to the right. Beautiful flight. All right. Got the ThoughtSpace Ethos Pathfinder. I think this is the Proton Hex without the overmold. So this thing is a beaut. Goes for forever. Great hand feel. I like them a little bit shallower without too much concave shaping under the wing here. Oh, and I pulled that one. Well, that one is gone. All right, next up we've got the Eclipse Hex from Axiom Discs. This thing should be a little bit more stable than the Pathfinder, as long as I get a good release on it. There it is. Put a little bit more power on that one, probably closer to the 65-mile-an-hour range. We'll see how far that one got out there. Next up, we've got the ESP Discraft Malta. It's a smaller diameter than most mids, so if that's something that you're looking for in an overstable mid-range, this might be a fun one to try out. It's got a bit of a bead on it, so that's something to keep in mind, but these things are typically pretty beefy. Huh. That's a little bit of an imposter disc there. Hot dang, that one stood up and drifted to the right a little bit. All right. Last disc in the mid-range category is the Simon Line Neutron Balance. This thing was in the bag for a little while, and I just couldn't get a good release on it, so we'll see how it does today. Flips up just a little bit, cruises out there, nice and stable. Beautiful disc. Love the colors on it. Working our way up, we've got the Innova Leopard DX Plastic. This is one that most newer players grab in their starter packs. So I figured I would show how this guy flies. I'll power down on it, try to give it a little bit of a snap, get that spin up, show you how this guy flies. Pretty low arm speed, probably 30%. Flipped up a decent amount. Got another Leopard here, same thing. Try to replicate that. Yep. For those lower arm speed players, a Leopard might be something to consider. But I feel like we've got plenty of good options that we'll show here. One of those being the Axiom Crave. Is it Axiom or MVP? I think it's Axiom because of the colored rim. So, again, this is one of those discs. If you've been playing for any length of time, you have definitely heard about the Crave. So, this is the Sarah Hokum edition in 174. Wow. That one is stable. Hot dang. I've had several Craves over my time, and that one's definitely stable. So we've got another Gyropalooza Blackout one. This one's 168, so we'll see if this one's any more flippy. It's a little bit more flippy, but still, it's got pretty good stability. Next up, we've got the Innova Star Hawkeye. This is one that I haven't thrown before, so we'll see how this one flies. It's a 7.5 -1/1, so it should hold pretty straight. Wow, I was expecting that to be a lot more understable. Next up, we've got the Latitude 64 Jade. Lightweight, easy to use fairway driver. Throwing that at about 30 or 40%. That's got a decent amount of stability to it. Got out there a good amount and had a little bit of finish to it. That actually flew pretty nice. Next one from Latitude is the Diamond, again from their easy to throw fairway driver line. That's a great roller disc. I basically threw it into the ground, and it was so flippy that it got on edge by the time it got to the ground. Next is the Clash Discs Soda in the steady plastic. It's 7.5 -2.2. Here we have the Discraft Alexis Mondahano Signature Series Stalker in 175. Now that thing you can put some power into. Wow. I know Trevor Staub loves the Stalker, and I can see why. That thing is super straight. There was practically no deviation right to left. If you can get along with the bead and the hand feel of it, that's a great one to consider. The OG Star Valkyrie. This thing's been around for forever. I remember when I started playing like 20 years ago, I had one of these and I threw it all over the place. It's got a decent amount of flip up to it. Cruises to the right. Not really any finish to it. Most people will also see the DX Valkyrie. That one's pretty flippy. One more, DX Valkyrie. Again, those DX Valks are pretty flippy. So if you got a lower arm speed, that might be a fun one to consider. All right, we've got the MVP Inertia. This one's in the bag for those hyzer flip shots. Absolutely love this disc. Love the hand feel, nice and shallow. Can put it out there with a heck of a lot of power, and it stands up and rides straight. That's getting there around the 400-foot range, even into a headwind. So love that. This one is just my older one. It's beat up. I've had this one in the bag for probably 4 years now. Well, a little bit too low, but that one's either a roller or that Sky Anheuser shot for me. Just a little misrelease. Prodigy feedback. This is one that I really enjoy. It basically is the carbon copy of the Inertia that I just threw the first one. When Kevin was on the team, he designed this one, or helped to design it with Prodigy, and it's that perfect hyzer stand up to flat, maybe just a little bit of drift, but then a finish at the end. Great for the woods. Great for getting a little bit of extra distance. Yeah, I released that on a little bit more hyzer than the Inertia. Not quite as much snap. I'm getting a little tired. There's 53 unique molds that I'm testing right now, so I might need to take a little break and let my back and my arm rest before I get into the distance drivers. But we'll keep going. We'll finish up the fairway drivers here. We've got the Discraft Titanium Raptor. Just a regular Raptor. Wow. It gets a lot of push before a gentle fade at the end. That's definitely a really workable disc. I like that. But what I found is that the rim is just a little bit too shallow for me, so it can slip out of my hand at times. So that's why I currently bag the Honor, the Latitude 64 Royal Plastic. Absolutely love this thing. It's just a tick more stable than the Raptor, but I love this thing. Decent amount of hyzer. Good finish to it. Next up, we've got the Champion Firebird. Everybody knows this guy. This is the quintessential overstable 9-speed that everybody else is trying to replicate. It's got a little bit of a blocky profile to it. It's pretty blunt on the edge, but that helps with the distance control. Great for spike hyzers, flex shots, you name it. Great for skip shots like that. So that was in the Champion plastic. I've got one in the Star plastic here. Again, you can see both of those got a nice skip. They're overstable enough where even if you put them on a little bit of a flex, they'll get to edge and they'll typically get a skip. Next up with stability is the Discmania Splice. This thing is an absolute meat hook. Throw it out there flat and just instantly wants to get left and get to the ground. Very predictable. The wind does almost nothing to it. Super consistent disc for me. Next up, we've got the Discraft Avenger SS. super flippy. Should be a nice roller. Even on that super high hyzer angle, still got to the ground on that roller angle. The only problem with that soft plastic is that if you do try to use it for a roller, when it gets to the ground, it loses a lot of momentum. All right, next up, we've got the MVP Trail. And I guess there are some people going off-roading over here. That one just goes for days. Next up, we've got a C-Line PD. This guy's the Thunderbird equivalent. It's a 10-speed, but it's nice and stable, goes forever. Little bit of turn on it. It comes out. Nice little skip at the end. We've got the Lone Howl PD. It's a Metal Flake C-Line PD, Colt Montgomery Signature Series. Give this guy a little bit more height. Or not. And last but not least, in the fairway category, this is the Clash Discs Spice. Nice and overstable. Very similar to the Splice, but a little bit straighter. As you can see, right on, just wants to get left and get to the ground. All right. Well, with that, I'm going to take a quick break, round up those discs, and get some distances. All right. So I went out and I collected all those. It was quite the adventure. All right, so now that we've thrown all the slower speed discs, we're on to the big boys. Going for distance drivers. I consider anything 11 speed and up as a distance driver. So I'll start with my favorite, the Latitude 64 Royal Grace. It's an 11 speed, and the one is nice and flippy, and I've got two more that are a bit more stable. So we'll start off with my Flippy Grace. We'll get a good run up, and I'll be aiming for around 65 miles an hour. Oh yeah, nice bit of turn. Just glides to the right the whole time. Beautifully smooth. Next up, we've got the pink one. It's a little bit more stable. See, it's got a little bit of drift to the right, but at the very end, it comes out. And then this purple one is basically brand new. So we'll see if I can get a good rip on this one. There we go. That's probably going to be hard to see with the clouds in the background, but right at the very end, you can see it crash down to the left. Beautiful. Next up, we've got the Innova Star Wraith. This is a go-to for most people. Just a little bit slower than the Destroyer, but as you'll see, it still gets big distance. And that one I put on quite a bit of hyzer. So just like the DX Aero, this has been with me since the very beginning. I found this when I was probably 10 years old. Maybe, no. I was probably 12 when I found this guy. And it's been with me ever since. It's the pre-flight number Star Wraith. Right after Ken Climo won the 12th World Championship. So, if I remember correctly, this one's a little bit flippy, but not crazy. Yeah, a little bit more understable than I was expecting. All right, let's step it up to the Halo Wraith. This guy should be nice and beefy. It's 166, so a little bit lighter weight, but it's still gonna have some stability to it. Or a lot of stability. Next up, we've got the West Side Sword in Tournament Burst plastic. This is the first 12 speed. It's a great option for people with just a little bit lower arm speed, or somebody that wants to finesse a gap. If you're not a big fan of the Grace and want something that holds nice and straight, the Sword is a great option. I'm throwing them all into the ground. Huh. That guy's a little bit more flippy than I was expecting. Gonna have to remember to keep the nose down, give it a little more height. All right, next up we've got the Discraft Zeus in ESP plastic. There we go, that's a good rip. A little bit of turn, a little bit of fade. And that is out there. All right, the next one is the Axiom Tenacity. I had not heard of this guy until very recently. I won this at my local league. I don't even remember what I won this for. It was like a CTP or something, but it's basically a destroyer. The wing is a little bit more curved than the destroyer is, but as you'll see by the flight, this thing goes. It's got a good amount of drift to it, but enough ability to fade out at the end. You guys know, you couldn't have a distance driver showdown without the Innova Destroyer. Absolute classic. Nice and stable for the full flight. Next up, one of my go-tos is the Discraft Force. I've got it in two different plastics. This is the ESP. We'll go. This is nice and stable, so I'll give it a little flex. Nice and flat. Good finish at the end. Next up is the Robot Chicken in Metallic Z. This plastic feels really good. It's stiff, but it's grippy. Again, get it on a little bit of a turn. Look at that thing just hold. The reason a lot of the Discraft guys bag these horses in general, because they are money. nice and consistent. The rim also isn't too wide. It says it's a 12 speed, but it's nice and comfortable. I think it's actually a little bit thinner this way than the Destroyer, but it's got a good depth to it, so you can really get a good grip on it. This is a brand new one, so it should be even more stable than the red one. Even on a good amount of flex, it immediately flexed out. It's going to be a little bit shorter, but you can see how consistent that could be. Trying to hit a nice tight fairway with OB on one side or the other. Definitely a workhorse. All right. We've made it to the big boys, 13 speed. This is the Innova Star Shrike. Should be super flippy, especially with this little bit of headwind we've got. So I'll try to keep the nose down, get it up there nice and high on a hyzer, and let it coast to the right. Well, I will be redoing that one. Nope. Hyzer flip to a roller. I mean, it's far. That is unfortunate. All right, next up we've got the Discraft ESP Hades. Super flippy. That was like a Sky Anheuser angle, and it got all the way over, turned into a roller. So if you're a power player, save the Hades for a tailwind. Again, even on that steep hyzer angle, it just doesn't have the stability to pan out at the end. Next up, we've got the Castoplast K1 Grim. This is out of production, but I used to bag the Grim for my really long distance rollers, Sky Anheuser's. Love this disc. Just like the Hades, doesn't really have the stability to fight out of it. With this headwind, we're really getting beat down. Next up, Big Z Nuke. Everybody knows it. One of the farthest flying discs out there, the Nuke. It's got a massive rim, absolutely chunky boy. If you can handle it though, these things absolutely bomb. What in the world is that? Wow. That is so flippy. Well, that's not like any Nuke I've thrown before. Brand new Big Z. I don't know, are they supposed to be flippy? Let me know down in the comments below. But I'll go get a measurement on those real quick, and we'll wrap this thing up. Last mold out of 53. We've got the Latitude 64 Rive. This is the Silver Lat Signature Series disc. Nice and stable. Good amount of dome. You can trust it into a headwind like that and just know that it's going to go far. Very predictable, very stable. Here's the Rive that I currently bag in the Royal plastic, Royal Grand. I love this thing. Just put it out there. You really need to have a big arm if you want to throw this guy far. I'm throwing that just about max power. So keep that in mind when you're making your selections, that this guy is not beginner friendly. You really need to put a lot on it, or if this is going to be something that you're interested in, you find it comfortable, you really need to expect that it's the only thing it's going to do is fly maybe 100, 200 feet before it dives to the ground. That is an absolute smash. Into this headwind, we'll round those up. I'll rethrow the Shrike and the Nuke. We'll see how that goes.